This country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
I know it's not too ghetto. I know it's not too ghetto. I said I know it's not too ghetto. You better check yourself, respect yourself. You better go for some because I flow for some. I'll tell you why there's no love. Simply you're not cool enough for what we have between us. Don't you know you lost my trust? Yeah, where you been? Tell them we're just friends. Tell them we're just friends. So obvious that it's never gonna work for us. No.
Happy Friday. Welcome in. It's Jill Munroe, and you're locked in to KBLA Talk 1580. Getting into Friday like Faith Evans hitting those notes. You get Snow Love. You know Andy's always on theme.
They did shoot this video over here, too.
They sure did. They were over in Leimert Park in this video. All right, tonight, look, I'm vibing to Faith, forgetting where I am. You're here to get into some trending topics and headlines. And tonight, you know, we have been talking off and on about Brian McKnight. He has been very public about his lack of love for his first wife and the children in that relationship. So he was in a recent interview and he explained why he said that those children were made out of sin and that the situation was more of an obligation. So we'll hear from him on that. And, you know, we got an NFL legend clearing the air, right? NFL Hall of Famer Steve Smith Sr. He has a message to the world, respectfully. He says he doesn't owe you an apology. So we're going to get into that. And buckle up. We got a lot going on tonight. We are also going to get into a little bit of the Thee Stallion, Milagro Gramz defamation trial that's going on. You know, even though Megan's in her lover girl era, she still has a lot of legal things to, you know, continue down the path on and clear up. And we have an update on Mia Thornton. So, of course, before we get into all of that, you know, I like to start the night out with a couple of conversation starters. And this one is pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to this. ESPN is honoring one of the most important voices in sports media history with the premiere of Booyah, A Portrait of Stuart Scott. It drops December 10th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And the doc dives into the life of the man who blended hip-hop, sports journalism, and black culture first with an undeniable swag on national TV. So, you know, Stuart Scott was one of one, and it focuses on his trailblazing career, plus his fight against cancer and his influence on modern sports broadcasting. Stuart joined ESPN in 1993 and became of the Sports Center cultural shift, you know, where everyone at 10 and 11 o'clock was tapped in to see the highlights of the day. Sports Center's still around, but I don't think it means as much to the culture anymore. I don't even know if people even get up like that. Like, man, such and such was on Sports Center. Probably not. They just want to be featured on, one of the highlights pages. I can't think of the names now, but you know what I'm talking about. But before influencer and Twitter clips, Instagram reels, TikToks, Stuart Scott was the personality, the brand, and the blueprint. So shout out to him. Make sure you check it out, right? I'm sure that he is the inspiration of a lot of your favorites, whether they started off as a journalist or became one after their professional career. So also, in a bit of news, D'Angelo's estate has launched a pancreatic cancer fund. The family of the legendary singer has announced a global philanthropic fund honoring his life and fight against pancreatic cancer. Good Lord. It's led by his daughter Imani, his brother Luther, and Jean-Claude Callie. That's his other brother. Jean-Claude is, of the Black Boy Joy Foundation. And they are teaming up together, and it's going to focus on research, awareness, and support for families. And, listen, we know that pancreatic cancer is one of the most vicious forms of cancer. And, his family is turning their grief into generational impact. So much love. We're tired of reporting on our legends passing early. Obviously, Stuart passed away from cancer too. So, there's so many things that we have to focus on in this world. This is just a small piece, but an important piece. When we come forward, we're going to get into the details of one Brian McKnight. I've never seen such a heel turn. I don't even know. When we come forward, all that and more.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Lowe's early Black Friday deals are going fast. Don't miss up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. And with Christmas around the corner, you're going to need more string lights, right? Save $4 on GE LED 100-count string lights, now just $5.98. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3. Selection varies by location. Select locations only while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. We want to speak directly to our listeners in Altadena and all across Southern California. Recently, we invited Southern California Edison to join a town hall so fire survivors could ask questions and get clear information about the Altadena Eaton fire and this so-called settlement fund. Weeks before the event, the law firm originally connected to the program withdrew, and we provided SCE updated materials confirming those changes. But despite that, SCE later stated publicly and privately that they were pulling out of the town hall because plaintiffs' attorneys were participating. That was not accurate, and SCE knew that it was not accurate. But when shown documentation that disproved their claim, SCE ignored it and declined to correct the record. At KBLA Talk 1580, trust is not an option. It is the foundation of our work and witness. It is the promise that we make to you. And so we will not move forward with any partnership that misrepresents the facts or undermines the credibility that we have built in love and service to this beloved community. Our commitment remains with the good people of Altadena. We will continue providing independent, verified information to support your recovery without interference from any outside entity, including Southern California Edison, so you don't get burned twice. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Are we still bopping to Brian McKnight? Are we? Somehow it doesn't have the same sizzle as it used to. Listen, before we get into all of that, you know, if at any point you want to join this conversation, you can call in 800-920-1580. You can also hit us up on social media. KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill everywhere. I'll let your girl say hi. You can also get down with us in the YouTube chat. Shout out to our chat. They are our community, the VIPs. Very active, very loving, very welcoming. Shout out to them and download the app to catch up on past episodes. All right, now it's go time. Brian McKnight is talking about this again. We know that a few weeks back he won, I believe it was a defamation lawsuit against his ex-wife, Julie. And so this time in an interview, he is clearing up why he says that his first set of children were made out of sin. Technically, it would only be one. But he's also explaining why he never loved Julie. And why people are taking the wrong approach in basically how he is conducting himself moving forward. So, again, he and ex-wife Julie were married for 13 years, 2 children, and, we've been going through this for years publicly.
13 years?
They were married, yes.
And was never in love?
That's what he said. That's what he said. They recently lost their son, Nico, and, there was a lot of controversy to that. Nico passed away from colon cancer. So let's hear what Brian has to say.
Our 2 families are 2 prominent families in the Black Adventist Church. We both met at the college where I was going. She came, okay. I was a sophomore, she was a freshman. We kind of started dating. The next year she gets pregnant. This is back when shame was a real thing.
I know, yep, I get it.
She's back home, she tells me she's pregnant and that she's gonna get an abortion. Because I'm like, yeah, we should probably do that. You're 18, I'm 20. Why would we? I'm just about to start this whole thing. Maybe this is the route we need to go. And she agrees. I'm like, oh, dodged a bullet. I'm going out to sign my deal in California. When I leave there and get back to Huntsville, that's when she calls me and said, actually, I didn't have the abortion. So now I'm like, I got to tell my mom. My mother, who played the piano and was singing in the choir every week, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, if your kid has a baby out of wedlock, you no longer can hold any church office. You can't sing up in front. You can't do it. You are held responsible for whatever the kids do. I honored my mother, and I tried to do the right thing with a woman that I hadn't even known a year yet. We got married in September, baby in November. We had sort of an agreement. You handle this part. I'm not changing diapers. I'm 20 years old. This was not what I expected to do. You made this decision. You're going to handle that, and I'm going to handle this.
Yeah.
When you make that bargain, you say, hey, you're going to take care of this. This is your responsibility. And they say, got it. And you go and you do what you have to do. You're expecting that to be the case. But we don't realize is that people will tell you whatever it is they want to tell you to keep you there until that first argument. Then the real thing starts to come out. But by then, you're looking at your life. You're like, well, and I had this conversation with my mother, like, why did you have me do this? You tried this. It didn't work. Now you got me doing it.
Right.
It was tough, but I'm already in it. We separated 4 times before we ended up getting divorced ultimately anyway.
How far into the marriage would you say the first separation?
2 years.
Because you were married for what, 13 years?
Yeah, 13.
So why not just break off? Why stick it out for 13 years?
For the kids. I was never in love with their mother. I wasn't. They weren't made from love to begin with. And I said this before, and people got so mad, this obligation that just because you lay with somebody now, it's sort of an 18-year sentence of some kind, or beyond that, because it's forever. There's resentment there. But at the same time, you do have these children, and you want to try to do your best to do right by them. If we were never supposed to be together like this in the first place, but we have these children, we both have to do what's right for them. And you're right. What we should have done was just separated for good then.
What's that nail in the coffin that then leads both of you to come to the conclusion that you guys are no longer good together, regardless of whether or not you have kids or not?
I think we always knew we weren't that. She may have been lying to herself if she thought otherwise. For me, when I realized I could parent those boys without her, I could be a good parent. I could be there for them, and I could give them what they needed from me without being married to their mother.
Do you think that the kids were the thing that kept y'all together as long as you were?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, there's a lot there, right? Okay, you guys were young. You felt pressure because your families were involved in the church. But you didn't feel any pressure not to cheat on her because of religious beliefs. I'm just saying, like, we pick and choose when we want to pull that up as a shield to defend our actions, right? When they didn't stop you from stepping outside of that marriage. It didn't. And I get it. They were young, and maybe that wasn't the best situation for them to come together under. But at this point in time, after the death of your son, the hurt that has been expressed by both of them, by this repeated conversation publicly, and the shame, even if you felt like they were acting entitled, has this public back and forth benefited your relationship? Because they're still your children. No matter how you feel about their mother, no matter how you felt about her, no matter how boxed in you may have felt by the situation and your religious beliefs, we are 30 years past that. Why does it make sense to continue to hurt your children, especially one that is deceased? Who does it benefit? It doesn't make Brian McKnight look better as a man. Nobody's saying, oh, dog, well, yeah, you didn't love her then. So that has nothing to do with you being a father to your children, which you say you figured out, but I don't know. I just feel like it's very hurtful and mean and unnecessary. Andy?
I mean, the animosity just started from day one after, she bamboozled him into still having the kids.
I mean, but here's the thing. I saw her leave a comment on this interview, and she was like, who's the interviewer? And apologies, I've forgotten his name, the podcast that it was on. But I think she wants to tell her side because her version of events is different.
Okay. I'd like to hear what she has to say for sure.
And, again, we can't go back and retrial, not that we're trying this, the facts of what happened then. But he had choices along the way. He talks about them separating those 4 times. Okay, you went back to try once. You said you did it for the kids. Then what is stopping you from doing things that are beneficial for your children at this time as adults? Like, he has to know that it can't feel good for you to constantly say, I never loved their mother. They weren't made out of love. Changing your name so that your new children can be your junior. That is unreasonably cruel for a man who made his career off love songs. The chat is chatting. Fahima says, I'm sorry. I hope the children never heard this. Why couldn't they have used birth control and avoided all this drama? I mean, coulda, woulda, shoulda with that type of stuff. Yep, they were doing things. Yep, maybe, her religious convictions got to her why she didn't want to abort the child. Who knows?
Can I just say this?
Yes.
You were talking about picking and choosing God and all that. You feel me? That's one of the things that I've hated with women. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took a while to even, get you in the bed, right? And then now, just like, this is where you just draw the line. I'm sorry, my religious reasons, prevent me from not, having an abortion. But hey, you was busting it wide open the other day. I'm just saying.
But you said it took a while. But here's the other thing
did.
with that. I also think that, people are quick to want to get the feeling without the prophylactics, without having had that discussion. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with you 100%.
Not literally. I mean, I would love to hear them, but I'm just saying they never ask the person, how you feel about abortion? They probably don't want to bring it up because it's sticky. It ruins the things.
Yeah.
But you need to know these things.
I'm with you.
Nobody wants to end up like what happened, what Ray Caruth did to his kid's mom. There was just something out recently about some guy on social media that took a girl by gunpoint to a clinic. Like, you got to have conversations, real life conversations. And again, you're honoring God and marrying this woman and staying in this, but do you think that you're honoring him in the way that you're talking about your sons?
Speak on it.
I really question what Brian thinks will be the final outcome of all of this.
Does he still do music?
He tours. Didn't he have to, something happened with ticket sales or something for one of his most recent tours? I feel as though he doesn't understand, and maybe I think he's produced stuff and written stuff as well, so maybe he can live off his residuals and not have to worry about your thoughts and feelings. Because much like the next story we're going to talk about, he probably, and I guess in reality he doesn't, owe us as the public an apology or an explanation, right? But
I guess, but does this information kind of hurt his career?
It taints
he wasn't
him
drop
a little.
A new album, you listening to him talking about love, does it hit the same way?
I think it taints him a little because it makes him look like an a-hole.
100%.
And yeah. DJ Black 909 says, this is why we need to renormalize abstinence and celibacy. The irony in that is that...
stay strapped.
Yeah. But Gen Z is having less sex than their predecessors. So...
This is true.
I mean, it's not as if that isn't kind of organically happening. There's a lot of, interesting, different sort of barriers being put up to meeting people now, especially as a lot of socializing is done online.
I guess the fear of having a kid doesn't surpass, obviously, the feeling of the act. I get that. But for me, I'm not going to lie, the fear of having a child had me strapped every freaking time. I've had several opportunities when I was not prepared. And as much as I wanted to go ahead and dive in, I'm sorry. I didn't want to go through that. You know what I'm saying? You hear these horror stories, I'm sorry. That fear had me over here nah, I'm good. I'm not dipping in. Sorry.
On both sides, you hear the horror stories because, nobody wants to have the crazy baby mama. Nobody wants to have an unevolved and detached baby daddy. So... conversations, protect yourself, protect your future self.
And people are afraid to have those conversations because I think some people feel like that is too soon to have those deep of a conversation, or they feel like they may turn that person off.
Right.
I'm over here trying to get that.
I mean, it can be awkward, right? But the reality is if you're, taking these type of risks, got to have a conversation because then you're going to be crying saying, why me? Why are they doing this to me when, you probably had a bit of control over that taking place. I don't know. Morris Phillips says child support is expensive and it's the economy why the youth aren't as sexually active. I mean, partially. I also think that there's consent conversations are different. That can be awkward for some people, you know. It's can I hold your hand? Can I kiss you? Can I hug you? Type of generation, right? And I don't know. They are interacting differently. So, we'll see. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
That we should be together. It's unbelievable how I used to say that I'd fall never.
Are you ready for the hottest entertainment scoop in Los Angeles? She's bringing you exclusive interviews with today's biggest stars, behind-the-scenes Hollywood insights, and all the entertainment news you need to know. She's breaking down what's trending, what's ending, and what's just beginning in the world of entertainment. You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. As Chicago's budget fight continues, Black Mayor Brandon Johnson launched an online portal for aldermen to submit cost-cutting ideas.
There's been a lot of noise around possible efficiencies.
Johnson is standing by his proposed corporate head tax, saying most business leaders are not concerned and the focus remains on public safety. Black Congresswoman Sheila Sherfless McCormick is vowing to fight what she calls a baseless indictment after being charged with using FEMA money for her 2021 campaign. The South Florida Democrat claims the case is meant to intimidate her and distract from the Epstein files. And the Coast Guard says it's doubling down on its ban of hate symbols, including nooses, swastikas, and any flag used by hate groups. The updated policy released Thursday follows reports the Coast Guard might label them as only potentially divisive. The Coast Guard clarified these symbols remain strictly prohibited. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
A couple of things on the 210. First in Sylmar on the 210 westbound at the 118, an accident is clearing out of the left-hand lane. You're backed up from Sunland Boulevard. In Pasadena on the east 210 before Mountain Street, a crash has the two right-hand lanes out of sorts, and you're backed up from Lincoln Avenue. At the East LA interchange on the 10 westbound transition to the North 5 is a car that broke down, and this connector road is partially blocked by that vehicle.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The USC football team has a massive game tomorrow at 7th-ranked Oregon. It's a must-win situation for the 8-2 Trojans. They need to beat Oregon to stay in contention for the 12-team college football playoffs. The Trojans have never qualified for the playoffs in the 11-year history of the postseason format. They're up against some tough odds to get it done tomorrow. The Trojans are 0-4 against top 10 teams this season, and they are 1-7 on the road against ranked teams during head coach Lincoln Riley's 4 years at USC. 12:30 kickoff tomorrow on CBS. For alumni of Southern University in the LA area, the HBCU's women's basketball team will be in town Sunday. Southern is playing UCLA at Pauley Pavilion at 2 p.m. Tough matchup for Southern. 5-0 UCLA is the number 3 team in the country. The Rams are at home Sunday night against Tampa Bay. The Chargers have a bye this week. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready? Drop it!
Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
The laws have not changed in California. All workers must be paid properly and protected from retaliation. Retaliating against a worker or not paying them because of their immigration status is illegal. Don't believe the lies. California laws protect all workers, regardless of immigration status. Document retaliation and wage theft. Report it to the Labor Commissioner's office. Learn about your labor rights. Visit wagetheftisacrime.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So listen, it is a question, as this one kind of connects to what we were talking about with Brian McKnight. How much do you owe your fans? How much do you owe the public as a public figure when things go awry in your personal life, right? Everybody has situations, things, little tiffs, hookups, whatever you want to call it, that may happen that are not necessarily for public consumption. Maybe not even for your friends and family, right? But as a public figure, these things can spill into the public and we feel a way about them. Sometimes it's simply we want to be updated because you included us in all of the other stuff. You got to include us in the end. Don't leave out those details. But other times it's because we had a certain image in our mind of you and how you conducted yourself. And then we find out otherwise, right? Case in point, NFL icon Steve Smith Sr., he says he's not apologizing to anybody, nobody, over claims of an affair that he had with a Baltimore Ravens. I believe she was a member of the band. He says it's a private matter and that he owes strangers no explanation, right? So basically, these allegations surfaced maybe in February of 2024 by Tony Martinez. He's the husband of Nicole Martinez, the woman in question. Tony posted screenshots and an audio recording, screenshots of text messages, and an audio recording of him confronting Steve, right? And basically, asking him why he was dealing with his wife. Now, Steve did apologize to Tony when he phoned him, which a lot of people felt like it didn't fall in line with who the Steve Smith character they've come to know is. But, from his POV, what else could I say? That's what I did. So let's listen to a bit of his interview from the Pivot podcast. It should also be noted that Tony, the husband, filed a lawsuit in North Carolina seeking $100,000 from Steve under the homewrecker law. And Tony and his wife did separate for a period of time, but it looks like they may have reconciled. Steve and his wife have divorced. So let's hear what he has to say.
It was sort of this contrast of, man, this is a dude that plays football like this, but look at the way he takes care of his family. You showed the world that those two things didn't have to be connected, right?
Yeah.
You could separate those things. But when all the stuff comes out on Twitter and now the world is let in on your relationships, both in your marriage and out of it, how were you able to process that? Because now you can't handle that privately with your ex-wife and your children. You and they had to deal with that openly.
I still and won't release any apology because I don't need to apologize on a private matter to a whole bunch of strangers. I grew up old school. Mind your business. We could be neighbors, but don't bring your ass in my yard knocking on the door talking about what's going on. Because you ain't gonna like who and what's in the hand of the person that's opening the door. So people have their comments. Here's what I can guarantee you. I gave authority to my kids. I ain't gonna never say nothing bad about their mother. Ain't got to. And they got authority from me. Check me. So I'm never gonna mention or say what is or isn't. Because for a whole bunch of strangers that's watching this with their opinion, don't really matter. Because you don't know. And I'm not here to explain. What I won't do is I won't explain myself. Because I was wrong. But I also won't defend myself. And I'm not going to walk around apologizing to everybody. Because that ain't how it's supposed to work. Y'all, I've told people, and I'll say it again, you ain't my God.
So I feel
So
like
I don't have to ask you, stranger, art thou give nothing to me for me to explain, to look for something. So I just keep it pushing.
So I feel like he's right. The apology needs to be within, his family, the other individual's family, and what have you. But so much of business, I say this with air quotes, is conducted on image or what one thinks or believes to be certain individuals. Now, Steve is a broadcaster. I believe he was coaching for a minute. Not sure. So a little different, but sometimes I feel like the public apologies are silly because, one, what you did doesn't really impact us, right? It may impact our opinion of you, but it doesn't impact the public. And it doesn't change anything in your world. Nothing switched because Steve Smith or even Brian McKnight made the choices that they made. But with so much riding on image currently and cultural exchange through social currency, I don't know. Do you expect more from people you may enjoy for, sports or media, music, whatever? Andy?
I don't expect anything from anybody. They're human, just like me. We tend to put these people on pedestals and they owe us everything. When we see them in traffic, they need to stop and sign whatever autograph that we have. I don't expect anything from nobody. So I'm rocking with Steve Smith. I don't blame him. In a lot of ways, I feel like that also gives him peace. You know what I'm saying? I think he's dealt with it with the respective individuals, and that's all that matters. Everybody else, who cares? Now, you as a fan, if you feel like he owes you an apology and he doesn't give you an apology, you have every right to not support the man either. But I do think that we want too much from public figures and forget that these individuals are humans just like us.
But then we look at the other side of it is we as fans, as the public, really push companies now to make sure that they align with people whose values we support or we pull our support away. So does that apply overall to just the people we like, which, of course, is human nature, right? If you like someone, you might give them a little bit more runway. But it is interesting. I just, public apologies sometimes for some of this stuff is just, you're not in public office.
I'm with you. And he's also not in the public eye like that on a regular basis. Now, if he was on TV every day, then maybe I would consider somewhat of an apology. But, I don't know if he's still doing the whole reporter thing with the NFL or whatnot, but I just don't see him on a regular basis to even want to give an apology.
Indeed. Mimi in the chat says the only person he has to answer to is God and his wife for cheating.
100%.
Also, celebrities, stop telling us about your personal lives because I don't want to know.
Mimi always say that, though. But you be tapped in. You like the tea. Come on, stop acting like that, man.
Well, to his defense on this, he didn't make it public. The woman's husband posted all of this on Twitter along with his recorded voicemail and made it our business. So
I swear, every time we talk about this, it's always because somebody posed whatever question to the person. It's not like these individuals just be volunteering, their opinions on stuff. So.
Unless they're like Ray J or Tyrese or something like that. But, even with them, I think people love that from them. That's kind of why they love them. They love the car wreck, so to speak, But shout out to him for making sure to include that he would never say something bad about his children's mother in public, Brian.
And he said he gave the kids authority. Check them. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So, listen. So Mimi also brought this up in the chat, and we mentioned this briefly the other night, but Kandi Burruss has officially announced that she and Todd Tucker are divorcing. They were together for over a decade, and, Miss Joyce, that's Kandi's mother, wasn't exactly on Todd's side at the beginning. She thought Todd was looking for a come up. We don't know the details as to why they are separating. Fans peeped game over the weekend at BravoCon that Kandi was introduced as Jess Burruss, and she wasn't rocking her ring, and they didn't see Todd in attendance. So they were already peeping the tea. So, obviously no one likes to see the dissolvement of a marriage. But we hope that they are good. They do have 2 young children, so hopefully there's a peaceful co-parenting in existence and, things move along well. Listen, when we come forward, more trending topics and headlines.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
September is World Alzheimer's Month, a time to shine a light on a public health crisis that deeply impacts Black families. 1 in 5 Black adults ages 70 and older is living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD, and the risk is twice as high compared to white adults. But AD isn't just forgetting a name or losing track of time. Signs of early AD could be repeating questions, missing appointments, or struggling with bills and daily tasks. These things aren't a normal part of aging. Here's the good news. Treatments are available that may help if AD is diagnosed early. If you notice changes in memory or daily routines, whether in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatalsearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com to learn more about the signs and symptoms and a potential treatment option. This message is brought to you by AZI.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
What more do you want from me?
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Oh, Tyrese. Shout out to Tyrese. You know, TGT has a show tomorrow night. Yeah.
They back together?
No. They're just doing a show.
Okay, not mad at it.
Not for a long time, just for a night, basically.
Now, one thing I do hate is folks like Tyrese going on live to cry. Like, come on, stop that.
Right. You know, a therapist couch works.
Come on now.
Call your friends. I know you got them.
Come on now. Holla at Kirk Franklin. Den of Thieves. Go holla.
Something.
My bad, Den of Kings.
I mean, here's the thing, though, right? Are we being
Here you go.
No,
Here
I'm just asking. No. I'm asking this overall because I think that Tyrese is a little too public with his emotions. Okay. But I'm asking, right, in saying that, when we do this, right, are we subliminally keeping up the idea that men, shouldn't show their emotions? They should not, be allowed to go through it and express that and be loved on even in those instances.
Why'd you have to ask that question?
It's important, right?
I'll say there's credence to your question if that answers your question. I understand.
I'm just saying, some of these wild outs, a hug might have helped if they could have expressed themselves openly and honestly and not have to keep it all bottled up inside.
I feel you. Hey, Tyrese, much love to you, my brother. Hey, let it all out.
Just not online. All the time.
You know what? If him crying online is going to influence our men to be more in tap with their feelings and emotions and not to be afraid of it, then hey,
Is it?
I don't know.
Because
I
I'm
don't
saying
know.
people, that's my point. Like, he gets clowned for
He does.
being vulnerable and raw. But we don't. Here's the thing. I think timing, place, all of that matters
Yes,
because we've seen vulnerable conversations from podcasts and things like that.
Right.
And they haven't received negative reaction. I think, though, going on live and filming yourself crying feels excessive.
Yeah. Because I remember Allen Iverson, different industry. That man used to cry a lot.
Right.
But a lot of it, I'm sure, was like tears of joy and stuff like that.
I mean, he
nobody
talked about
said
it. He did some interview recently I was watching. He talked about how much he cries.
And what did he say? Did he say like?
I can't remember. He just, there was just reference to it.
Nobody clowning him though.
Right.
I guess it depends on what it's about.
I think it's time and place. I think it's setup. I think going online and recording yourself, just feels different. A little bit.
Now, if you're live and you're talking with your folks or whatnot,
and you start crying, that's different.
That's different. Yes.
But going on live, I don't know. People are calling out for help. Their cries for help. Their cries for help. All right. So if you've been keeping up, Megan Thee Stallion is suing a blogger, a YouTube blogger, Milagro Gramz. It's a defamation trial, right? And there are accusations of deepfake videos, $3,000 payments from Tory Lanez' father, lost brand deals, and an emotional testimony from Megan herself. Megan talks about having to turn down a Call of Duty sponsorship because of the PTSD she suffered from her incident with Tory, right? She said the thought of someone shooting her, even in a game, kind of messed with her head. Although the defense brought up a tweet of Megan's after the shooting where she said that she needed that Call of Duty skin, and we know skin means, a Megan character, basically. So they're calling foul on that. The claim is basically that this woman was setting Megan up to be harassed. You can have your opinion. That's freedom of speech. But as we always say, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequences. And so they are alleging that, Milagro posted a deep fake porn video allegedly depicting Meg doing naughty things. It wasn't her. And Meg says she was emotionally devastated by all of this. She said that her therapy costs were in excess of $240,000, right? She said she reached a point of not wanting to live. And she claims that Milagro and DJ Academics targeted her for years. And, Nicki Minaj, by the way, accepted that Call of Duty deal that Megan turned down, ironically. And this is a little bigger than stan culture, I think. Again, we know how the stans operate to benefit an artist, but we also have seen those fan bases get active and get at people, right? Sometimes we like it. Other times it's just call it what it is, harassment. And for Megan, we know this Tory thing has been going on, at least in conversation, for almost 6 years now, right? And I think that what a lot of people forget when they get a platform, right, but maybe not necessarily the education of what comes with that platform, they get caught up. You're not chatting with the homies. You can't just say whatever you want without facts, without proof. You cannot harass someone. I don't understand what's not hard about it. Like, basic things we learned in preschool. Treat others how you want to be treated. But we're not in a time of that. So we'll see the outcome of that. Deep fake laws are still being passed. Maybe something in this case might be setting a precedent. It's taking place in Miami. Andy?
Yeah, this deepfake stuff is getting out of hand. I just saw a Kobe one, and I guess he was driving. Police pulled him over. He had to take a breath of life. I'm telling you, yo, this stuff is
Have
ridiculous.
you seen the one with Michael Jackson with grills? Like they have Michael Jackson as a YN. They got him with grills and they got him with braids and twists and stuff. And like, it's a mess. It's a lot, you know? So we'll continue to see probably different types of suits and cases related to things as such as technology develops more. And, you know, people got to recognize you got a platform, but there's a responsibility that comes along with it. All right, y'all. It's Friday. Get ready. Get set. Grab a libation for me. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday, 6 p.m.
Flight out tonight, and you can pick me up about 8. I don't know what airline, girl, but I know we won't be late, 'cause they tell me it never rains in Southern California. They tell